When a buyer is about to close on the property, you need to do a few things to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. This will include completing a buyer final walkthrough form. You can pre-check them if you want, or have the client check them off as they sign it at the final walkthrough. You will also want to schedule that final walkthrough with the buyer. Schedule it through broker bay or showing time, just like you would a normal showing. However, there's an option for final walkthrough. Morning of, depending on availability. If the property had any repairs, you will want to double check the repair amendment, make sure that you have a copy of all of the invoices and receipts from the listing agent and already sent to the buyer. And you also will potentially need to do a re-walkthrough with the home inspector if the buyer wants it. Most buyers don't actually opt to have the home officially re-inspected. That's actually on really rare cases, but at your walkthrough, you'll want to have that list of repairs so you and the buyer can go through and put your eyeballs on those items. Agreement in place. That means that the house will need to be vacated completely by the seller by the point of funding and closing when possession happens. Now, this actually happens a couple hours after the last person signs. So if your seller or if your buyer is signing at 9 a.m. and the seller is not able to sign until